Okay, let's start by reading the problem description for majority element. Given an array nums of size n, return the majority element. The majority element is the element that appears more than n divided by 2 times. You may assume that the majority element always exists in the array. So example 1, we have an output of 3 because the value 3 appears twice in an array of length 3. Example 2, we have an output of 2 because the value 2 appears 4 times in an array of a length 7. For the constraints, we can see that the n will equal the length of the array. N will be greater than or equal to 1 or less than or equal to 5 times 10 to the 4th. And the values in the array will be greater than or equal to negative 10 to the 9th and less than or equal to 10 to the 9th. And for a follow-up question, could you solve the problem in linear time and O1 space? For our approach, we're going to utilize a hash map and a single for loop. This solution has a big O of n time complexity and constant space complexity. The general idea is first we're going to get the majority by dividing the length of the array by 2. Then we're going to iterate through the array of numbers once, and we're going to add each unique number we come across as a key and its count as the value. Immediately after adding to the character's count or initializing it with 1, we'll check if the character's value is greater than the majority. If it is, we'll return the number we're iterating over. Now you might be wondering how this solution has constant space complexity if we're storing these values in a hash map. No matter the size of the nums array, we will only ever store 10 keys at most in the hash map. Those 10 keys being the numbers 0 through 9. In other words, we have a finite amount of keys, therefore it's constant space complexity. Let's translate this to code. Okay, let's start by setting up our base case. Let's check if the length of our input is less than 3. If it is, we can just return the first number. Remember, for our constraints, there has to be a majority, so if it's less than 3, it has to be the same number, so we can just return either number. Then we'll initialize a variable called majority. We'll take the length of our array and divide it by 2. Then we'll initialize a variable called hash map with an empty object. Next, we'll set up our for loop. We'll iterate through the numbers in the nums array. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to attempt to add 1 to the value if it exists. If it doesn't, we're going to initialize it with 1. Then we're going to check if the value is greater than our majority. And if it is, we're just going to return that number. And that's our solution. Let's save it and run it against the test cases. And we get the expected output. Let's copy and paste this in a Leetcode. Okay, let's paste it in here. Hit submit. And we get an accepted solution. Thank you for watching.